wasn't looking for a compliment, but I thought it was funny. Well, it was 4 years ago in December that I filed a lawsuit against 4 states for not following their own state laws, which is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. And unfortunately, only 2 justices agreed that we should have standing. How we don't have standing as a state, I don't know, but 7 of them didn't want to hear that case. And that began the saga of what we all know, this whole process of voter fraud. And I'm telling you, the reason that we didn't have that voter fraud is we recognized what was going on in other places. I didn't know what was going on, but we could see that these liberal counties were going to mail out all these ballots. And when you mail out ballots that people don't ask for, no one knows who's getting them, and no one knows who's voting. And that's what happened in Arizona with a Republican Attorney General and a Republican governor. That's what happened in Georgia with a Republican Attorney General and a Republican governor. They just let it happen. And of course, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they all had mail-in ballots that came in after the fact, that it took days to count. For the first time in the history of our country, they were counting ballots for 3 days. And in Texas, we fought that in 12 different lawsuits, and it was a battle because we were in all the liberal counties. We had liberal judges that were ruling against us. We had courts of appeals that were all Democrats. I told my team, you cannot lose a single case. We have 12 cases. If Harris County can mail out these ballots and we don't know who's sending them in, Donald Trump is not going to win Texas. And I called him and I told him that. I said, you are not going to win Texas unless I can stop these 12 places from mailing out ballots. Because once they're mailed out, and he told me, he didn't believe me. And I said, I'm telling you this is going to happen in Texas. But what I'm more worried about is what's going to happen in these other states. You need to focus in on mail-in ballots. And sure enough, we stopped every single one of those mail-in ballot attempts, all 12 of them. It's amazing. It's by the grace of God that happened, that we won all 12, and that we got it to the Texas Supreme Court around all the normal rules of going up. But all these other states, when I'm sitting around on election night watching what's going on, and I see that Donald Trump is ahead in all the swing states by a lot, and then suddenly they stop counting. They all stop counting. Anybody here ever seen that before? No. It had never happened in my lifetime. And I knew then, I went to bed, I knew then that Donald Trump was going to lose because I knew exactly what they were doing. They were counting all the real ballots, and then they were bringing in mail-in ballots that had been sent out to everybody, to the world. And then they said, by the way, when Biden won, what did they tell us? You can't prove that that there was fraud. And they're right, because of the way they did it. They mailed them out with never having any type of identifying information on who was filling them out. No vote, no photo ID, no signature, nothing. And so today we're in that same battle, except it's a little different. This time, Joe Biden, on day 1 of his administration, not a weekend, not a month in, not a year in, day 1, why does he say to the world, I'm not deporting anybody? Because he wanted to tell the cartels what? He wanted to tell them that they could send people here immediately and to get busy, start making money, because we're going to take them all. You don't have to hide anymore. No running from Border Patrol, no hiding. You know, Border Patrol used to arrest people. Now we invite them, we bring them in, and Border Patrol logistically sends them to exactly where the Biden administration wants them. And what's the plan? The plan is for them to vote. And I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but I do know that many of them are getting Social Security numbers. And with Social Security numbers, you can get a photo ID, you can get an ID. In most states, you don't have to prove citizenship. And with that ID, oftentimes you can vote. So we are in a battle. We have to get our people out to vote. We have to outvote the fraud. And so I am still optimistic because I believe that God has a plan for this country. And I believe that he has a plan for us. And just like the founding fathers, there were just a small number of people that stood up and fought for this freedom that we all have now. It wasn't the whole country. Most of the people were still on the British side. And yet, we had people that dreamed big about a free country where our rights were not from the government, they were from God. And I think as Texans, we are given an opportunity and a responsibility to lead this country. And I think that's our purpose. And so I know that I'm depending on the people of Texas. You and me, we're called to be here at this particular time. And I think someday they're going to write the story about us doing exactly what the founder did. God bless you and thank you for everything you're going to do.
The best Attorney General in Dallas, Texas, United States.